This show is brought to you by DF Studios Limited. Whether you're a business owner or entrepreneur, DF Studios will guide and assist you on the best ways to promote your brand digitally, in addition to creating visitor and customer generating content like blogs, social media posts, videos, and even podcasts like this one you're listening to right now. Visit dfstudiosltd.com or hit up info@dfstudiosltd.com for more info. And last but not least, Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. So Ricardo, if you don't mind, I want you to do the synopsis for this, but pre-ramble, right? So we covered the first Knives Out back in 2019 when it came out. I remember enjoying it, not loving it as much, right? But I know for some Ryan Johnson fans, many people regard this film as one of his best, right? And I can agree, right? But I'm not over the moon with this film, right? But that being said, though, it does earn its Oscar nom for Best Original Screenplay. The way how it more or less modernizes, the murder mystery, I thought was great. How it subverts it as well, I thought was great. Just the characters were just memorable. Especially, Daniel Craig, of course, who is Benoit Blanc, right? We got, a new, I'll make the joke that, Daniel Craig, has found his next franchise, right? Seeing that he is no longer Bond, right? Because, I could see just, more films. And yes, I know there's a third film that's been greenlit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think Netflix greenlit, right?
They bought I know they bought 2 sequels for it. So it
right.
Yeah.
So I could see him just playing this character for just for a good run. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's basically America Poirot, right? That's the
yes.
It's an Agatha Christie
American version of that. Yes.
Right. Effectively. Right.
Yeah. I got to see McGill, Ana de Armas. She was great in it, and it was just the side characters as well. Whether it was Jamie Lee Curtis or Michael Shannon, and me actually recapping the film. So what I did, I actually watched Knives Out, and then I jumped into Glass Onion. And I'll say right off the bat, they make for a great double feature. Like if you're just looking for a great double bill, watch Knives Out and Glass Onion. But I forget Chris Evans was in Knives Out. I was like, what?
I forget that he was
right.
I could forget that he was the villain. That was the story.
I know, but honestly, I haven't seen that film since 2019, right? To be honest, I haven't recapped it. But watch it over, I was like, it still work. And of course, our boy, from Atlanta,
Lakeith Stanfield,
Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield. Sorry about that. Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield was there. It's like, oh yeah, characters, right? People, right? Yeah. But with this one here, Glass Onion, much to our surprise, a Netflix drop. It came out, a couple days ago, the time of us recording this. It's technically not so much a sequel than it just is. Okay, it's just another adventure involving Benoit. Technically, you don't really need a Knives Out mystery. I think behind the scenes, Ryan was kind of pissed at the fact that
I felt they could have just said
Knives Out mystery because
I felt that clearly the titles for marketing, but I felt they could have just said Glass Onion, a Benoit Blanc mystery. Simple, like a quick change.
Yes,
something like that. Yeah.
Because reason being is because Knives Out. There was a reason why it was called
Knives Out. Exactly.
Yeah, but here's no, it's just
they have no knives. But I was thinking that. I was thinking, they're going to do something similar with Knives Out again. And they kind of hint at that in the beginning, because of what the plot was and the group of people. I thought that's what he was going for again. But, no, that didn't make any sense. So, however.
Yeah, whatever. Right. So, Knives, so I always say Knives Out, right? Glass Onion, right? Which you're going to be called going forward. What is Glass Onion about, Ricardo?
Sure. It's during the middle of, it's early in the pandemic. I think it's middle of 2020. I think it's May, if I remember correctly.
I remember March or May. I think it's either one or two, but yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of asshole friends, a group of friends in the days they call themselves the Disruptors. They get a mystery box, right? Literally, from a friend, a very wealthy, powerful friend of theirs, and they have to solve a bunch of puzzles. And basically, the puzzle invites them to basically investigate his murder, right? Well, quite playfully. The conceit of, what is involving their friendship, and there's all these parties, and in an isolated island. and it's all of them getting together to go have this party and quote unquote solve his murder. And well, it's done in a playful fashion. It's not a real murder, but then you learn something unfortunate involving a real murder involving one of the characters, and then it escalates from there. And it's basically solving that character's murder, and then when you learn another character's murder, but that character's murdered earlier, and you understand how and why, and they reveal this, and that's the general conceit. And as usual, Benoit Blanc is invited, but we don't know how and why. Again, this is connected to the quote unquote earlier murder, and so on, so, and that's basically where it builds from there. And yeah, I thought this was not as strong as the first, and I'll tell you why. Why I think why is because I thought they revealed something too early. I felt they should have revealed that thing a little later in terms of the structure of the story. But it's still really fun, and Janelle Monáe is excellent in this. That's why it works. It's Janelle Monáe and James Bond, two of them together, making it work.
Yep.
Yeah, Craig and Monet really, really have great chemistry with each other, and they bounce off, and she's great in this. And then, yeah, all the other side people is great in this. And then why it also is pretty good is because it have a bunch of great cameos in this. Like Yo-Yo Ma had a cameo in this. Like, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, I
well,
forgot she died, but this girl was in it. What called she? Angela Lansbury was in this.
Angela Lansbury, yes, I was
Yeah,
about to say.
which is great.
Stephen Sondheim, like
Right.
I was watching. He's like, wait, I know this guy because he's Stephen S, right?
Yeah.
But it's just in the end. Well, I was watching the credits of what that they enjoy the music. Yeah, they say it's dedicated to Angela, and Stephen's like, oh my god, that was him. What?
Yep.
And also points for having what is Natasha
Leon,
what's
she was in this, yeah.
Yes, from
Yeah.
from Russian Doll and Orange is the New Black. I was like, hey, you this, nice, yeah.
Right. And yeah, it is just everybody really funny and clever with each other. Dave Bautista continues to be excellent. I didn't think he would have been as funny as he was.
I know, right?
He's pitch perfect as who he plays. Like I love what they did with him. And then the actual conceit and the central story of it is just making fun of Edward Norton's character, who's like a kind of hodgepodge of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, right? It's playing on that whole conceit about those type of people. And it's just, again, much like Knives Out was all about old money, or at least the aesthetic of old money. This one is making fun of the aesthetic of new money. And what they do with that is great in the ending. But I'll say the mystery is not as strong for two reasons. And we'll probably get into spoilers for those two reasons, but one, it fell within my bingo game, right? Of what was going on. Right, it fell within. I mean, look, I watch way too much Scooby-Doo to not fall for this, right? That's one.
Wow, that's an insult there, bro.
No, like Scooby-Doo had solid mysteries, for what it was, at least
true.
At least a pop named Scooby-Doo, in my humble opinion. Boy,
yes.
It was perfect for like my 7-year-old.
It was not just red herring, right?
Right, exactly.
He was guilty one episode.
Right. It was perfect for my 7-year-old brain, but just that level of conceit. But it fell within my bingo. But I also felt the delivery and when that information was learned, I felt they could have structured the story to make you learn it later. But we'll have to get into spoilers to talk about that. That's all I'll say. So yeah, I didn't like it as much as the first, but still pretty good. For what it is. That's it. Like it's in my opinion not as good as the first. The first really caught me off guard as to what the reveal was. Like I thought the reveal was much more interesting. Like what really going on and how it played out. And as I say, it's not so much the who, but the how, right? The how and the what. But this one, the how and the what, just wasn't as interesting because I kind of guess it. That's the only difference. But it's still really funny. Everybody's great in this. Catherine Hahn is really good in this. Leslie Odom Jr. I was like, oh yeah, right, he was in this.
Yeah, I was watching the face too. Like, right, that's him. Yes.
Yeah, he was pretty good in this. But yeah, Edward Norton, Daniel Craig, and Janelle Monáe really stands out. Kate Hudson and Dave Bautista are quite funny, and they work as really really well. And yeah, everybody was just workable in it, and it was pretty funny and well done. But I can't in good conscience say I liked it as much as the first one, right? It's like if I give the first one if I were to give the first one, I forget how much I give the first one. I think that was like an 8, maybe. I forgot. But this one I'll just put it down a little bit, just slightly, like a 0.5. That's it. But mostly because the mystery wasn't anywhere near as interesting. That's it. If they really come up with something clever, or at least they reveal the mystery in a more interesting way, I'd like it a little more. But I dug it for what it was. It's still really well done, and again, most of it is all about the subtext and the social commentaries anyway. So Ryan Johnson pretty good at that. So that's about it. Yeah.
Right. Well, I do agree with you for the most part, right? But how I tend to watch this film, right? How I tend to perceive this film, right? Because yes, it is easy to say that the first one is better, and I do admit, in terms of the mystery itself and the conceit and whatnot, it is better, right? It is a structure and whatnot, right? But here, because it's more comical, I kind of see these as similar yet different beasts altogether, right? So for me, I absolutely enjoyed this one, right? But as far as like just a pure mystery, no, it's not as great as the first one. But as a mystery comedy, yes, this delivered on all levels, man. If it's one thing I really appreciate, I really loved, I should say, is the cast, man. This was just a stellar cast through man. What is my boy, Dave Bautista, boy? Yeah. Again, perfect character.
What did do with him? What they do with him, I know it's super predictable, but what they do with him is still very funny. Like where it was. Because I was like, because he mentioned something in the beginning, I was like, all right, that's definitely coming back, and it does come back.
All right, well, I that's the thing, I didn't even think about that. Well, believe it or not, I didn't think about it. Yeah.
Again, I watched too much Scooby-Doo for this shit, as they say, right?
All right.
So I knew exactly what to look for, and Ryan Johnson is a very deliberate filmmaker. So like, I guess we're accustomed to his like what he shows, when he shows it, and why. If he's seeing something, he is very deliberately showing you that thing, either by misdirection or not, right? And what they do with him is very clever. It comes back, but what they do with him with his what was his guild's name, boy?
Oh gosh, it is Whiskey.
Whiskey, right? What they do with that, I thought that catch him off guard. I was like, all right, that's real funny. That is very funny. Like that is very funny and clever. But I thought Dave Bautista, again, he's like a real standout for me. Like, in my opinion, I'm going to straight up say it, he's the best actor coming out of wrestling, like, in terms of acting, by far. Like, better than Johnson, definitely better than The Rock. Like,
right, that was about the same thing. The Rock, no, like I find like The Rock kind of get into this sort of stoic kind of wink at the camera, slightly kind of comfort zone kind of. But Dave at least is just be like, all right, yes, I'm muscular, and
quick side
I'm not like 100% intelligent, but you know, I'm here. That's what he does.
No, quick side note. We don't want to get into the drama involved with the Rock, I think, but like that is one of the simplest reasons why the Rock have no leverage over James Gunn, because James Gunn take two wrestlers and turn them into amazing actors, right? And
that's right. That's right.
They're doing shit better than anything the Rock do. So come on.
Facts,
right? So let's just leave it there. I just thought this was, again, I don't think it's about as funny as the first script. Like the first script I thought was very funny. Like in terms of like there's all this family is just a bunch of idiots, and there's a bunch of entitled morons, and they make it work. In this case, only really one person was kind of mostly the butt of most of the jokes, and that was Edward Norton.
Edward Norton's character, yes.
Edward Norton in this was great. Like he was like legit hilarious threat, and they make it really work. So
yes, he was. Yeah. Right. Now I absolutely agree, man. Edward Norton was hilarious. It is too. You buy into the fact that his mindset is almost like, oh, if I think about it, I could just hire somebody to make it for me. So that's why I like the little diversion at the very beginning with the whole mystery boxes stuff, right? Because in my head I was like, all right, why the whole mystery box thing? Like it's not something brought up later on. And that's like one teeny tiny little gripe that I have. Like I thought that the whole mystery box thing would have been brought up a little bit more later on. It was just really there to kind of set up why Janelle Monáe's character, or characters are there in the first place, right? But thinking about it now, sorry, I think it's just meant to set up how smart these characters are, right? So yes, someone like Leslie Odom Jr.'s character, Lionel, who is the scientist, of course he'll be able to figure it out quickly, right?
The smartest character
and the others. Yes, David Bautista Bob is just like, oh well, it's that and whatever it is, right? Like I love how they do that, right? But it's when Benoit says, oh, it's just like children's puzzles. When you say that, I just clap. I was like, yeah, That is a Ben line right there, right? But yeah, everybody shines this though. Kate Hudson, she was funny. Miguel
Yep.
Catherine Hahn, she was great as well, right?
Yep.
Didn't expect to see my next skill, Jessica Henwick, right from Iron Fist. Well, the one memorable thing about Iron Fist, to be honest, yeah,
Right.
she was great. She was the assistant, right? It's a
Yeah.
great moment involving the two of them and sweatpants.
Right. Right.
That
Yes.
had
Yes.
me
That was
going.
funny.
That had me
That was
going.
funny. Yeah. That was a
And
pretty funny
given who
line.
the
Yeah.
character that Kate is, it
Yeah.
makes sense why
Yeah, boy.
she
You're
would
like
take
God,
that.
boy. Yeah.
Make
Real
perfect
sad.
sense. You know what I mean? The one character I was a little iffy of, still kind of iffy, um, still actually is Daryl, who is played by Noah Segan, right?
Right.
I
Right.
didn't even know
Yeah.
this, but
I
he
thought.
actually
I thought that would
shows
have
up
been
in a
relevant. I
number
just kind of like.
of Ryan Johnson films, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
he was just there, this stoner guy. But I
Yeah.
thought that
He didn't.
because
He didn't come into play at all. Actually, I thought he would have been
yeah,
a
yeah,
thing,
yeah.
or it'd have been relevant in some way, and he wasn't.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
Miles would at least bring it up and say, well, oh, this is why he's here. Like, maybe
No,
we
I
were
thought. I
friends
thought
and something,
again.
Nothing.
Again, this is one thing that again he's there as a because he serves a purpose at a point, like, but not really. Like, it's more like a side thing. But I felt instrumentally, I might have to give it a rewatch to see what actual purpose he serves. Because again, Ryan Johnson is very deliberate. So to have it just be a dangling thread don't make any sense to me. So I had to see if I miss something with that. But yeah, I thought he would have been like a character that would have been like something way more important, and you'd be like really smart, or he's the one who designed the boxes or something like that. I don't know. So
Yeah,
well,
yeah, yeah.
right, right, right,
Because I
right,
want to think that there is more to him than a weed carrier. That's how that's
right,
how I assume
right,
he is. He's just a weed carrier, but it's like,
right,
nah, like you on this fancy ass island, Dre, like you ought to be doing more than that.
right.
Speaking of fancy ass island, I have to give credit again to Ryan for this way. This feels like a throwback to both 60s James Bond films, and it's so funny that
Right,
Daniel Craig is in there, and
right,
with his revitalization of the franchise, yeah, they were drawing back on the Sean Connery era, right? So
right,
it
right,
makes sense there, right? And then also with these like mystery thriller films, like stuff like say the Thomas Crown affair, right?
right, right,
Where it's all about we're going to this like fancy location and it's gorgeous and it's such a paradise and we're just gonna
right.
revel in it a lot, right? Even points for the music and all too. There's like a great little musical piece that kind of shows, yeah, just how lavish this guy's place is, right? I
Yeah,
love the idea of the glass onion literally being this big glass structure, and the concept of it actually make a lot of sense too. But
yeah,
again, it's rich guy shit. It's just like,
right,
yeah, if I think it, I want it. I want somebody to make a literal, glass building with, an onion on top, right? Because it's
right.
all about me, man, right? I just love how Miles is that kind of character, right?
Yeah,
At first I was a little iffy about the oh gosh, the name, sorry, the actor references. So they mentioned Jared Leto at some point, right?
right, right.
And
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
Which,
like it was just
again,
kind
that
of
makes
they're like,
perfect
all right,
sense, even if you know Jared Leto, what he are really about. Like, yeah, make perfect sense. That is funny,
right,
actually.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're correct. Also didn't expect to see Ethan Hawke in this. I was like, okay, you in this too, right? But
No, this
and
Serena
also
Williams cameo was funny too. That
yes,
cracked
oh
me up.
shit, how could I forget about
That
Serena
cracked me
Williams?
up. Yeah.
That was great. That was great. And again, rich guy shit, right?
You
But
know,
it works, right? Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I'm not gonna say what he
right,
does, but it's kind of funny and kind of surreal, but work, right? But one of the big ones for me, boy, was Hugh Grant and
right,
what they set up there with Blanc, because just to get into a little spoilery territory, well, Hugh plays Philip, that's his name, right? That's his domestic partner, and
right,
it's only after I watched the film I went up a line and people were like, "Oh, well, is Benoit gay?" And well, Ryan
right,
come and say, "Well, yeah, he is, he
right.
is," and people were like, "Yes," and they're like, "Oh, all right, okay." Right, you know what I mean? It's neither here nor there for me, but I just thought it's pretty interesting that he is, right. But even though the show doesn't stop to kind of telegraph it to you, what I do like is how it's set up with him in this fancy apartment with Philip. And yeah, he's bored, like he feels like
Right.
his talents, his deducting is not going anywhere. So it's like, yeah, I just cooped up here. I can't really do anything.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
least I have someone
They
to
play
help me
on the
out. So
pandemic.
I like that. I like that.
No, they play on the pandemic stuff well with that. Especially with the okay. So in the beginning, we see a bunch of characters get a spray in their mouth, and like, oh, that's actually like I thought that's actually quite clever of what to do there, like what's going on there, because it's like, oh, only rich people could get at then. You see what they do there
Right,
with
right.
it?
The real antivirus or whatever it is, right? Yeah.
Right, right. I'm like, all right, that's what we're going for. That not bad. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of that, though, speaking of the pandemic, what I again, just again, Ryan Johnson, right? Sorry, yeah, Ryan Johnson and just his clever writing by. Yeah, believe it or not, these were some people that we were kind of hated back in 2020, right? You know, the social media influencers,
Yeah.
the ones who were making money off of YouTube while people were suffering. Yeah, those were the guys that
Well,
we
I
were
mean,
we were kind of pissed off of, right? Well,
yeah,
sorry, well, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that, right? Not so much because I mean YouTubers had to survive too, right? What I mean is like could actually afford to go on this fancy ass island for a
right.
weekend while people were stuck home. Like I think that in itself is a reference to, if I could be wrong, Kim Kardashian. I think that
Right.
she
A little
had
bit.
this
Yeah.
thing
There's a little
involving
bit of that. Yeah.
her friend had some party and they went to some island for the weekend and people was like, yeah, fuck him and shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's just like cleverly just taking the piss out of them without like wholeheartedly telling the audience you should hate these characters.
Right.
I think one reason why I enjoy this one than the other one, yes, you kind of have to love to hate the characters, the family in Knives Out, right? But
Right.
here, you don't really hate them, but you just kind of watch and laugh at them because they're
Well,
just so
it's a play on.
unaware of
Yeah.
things.
The
You know,
whole the
that's
whole
what I
group
love.
of friends. The whole group of friends thing is clearly a play on the. That's how I see it. It's clearly a play on the PayPal mafia, right? A group of friends who make it big, and but one of them is this kind of the de facto leader, and then
Right,
that de
right,
facto
right.
leader is he's the one who's the most powerful in his own way, but they play it with that now, right? Like, and exactly, they play it back and forth. So that's how I see it. Is that again, it's taking the piss out of new money. If you're familiar with
Right,
how a bunch of
exactly.
these modern billionaires get their money, it's that, and they do a thing very blatant kind of reference of, and I'm glad they brought it back up, which is the whole creative destruction, because they keep calling themselves disruptors now.
Yes, yes, yes.
They play with that, and it's a very shallow take on that idea now, which makes sense given when you find out what Edward Norton's character is about, right? Yeah, it's that. They play on that conceit now, and they make it work for it is.
Yeah, yeah, they do. So let me just talk about Janelle Monáe, right? So if Ana de Armas is like the standout performer in Knives Out, Janelle Monáe is definitely the standout in this film,
Yep.
right? I was hearing early on about some possible Oscar buzz.
Nah,
And
I
if she
can't
gets
go that far, but she's very good.
yeah, she was fantastic at this too. Because at first you're wondering why she moving so morose, why she just always so because they set up early on that she just despises Miles. Because just again to spoil us here, they used to work together. You know what I mean?
Right,
And she pretty much came up with the idea for his company, his brand. And he just pretty much like took her idea and ran off with it, right? But
right,
you learn later on that actually the character that we see here is the sister of the
right,
of the one who actually got murdered by Miles, right?
right.
And I do agree with you in terms of how the information is given, right? Because I would
What?
say like a huge
Okay,
chunk of the second act spends time more or less kind of showing everything play out. And I was enjoying it. I
right.
was enjoying seeing how we see, and it's a typical mystery trope, right? Where you see like say the
One act,
first
right,
act and everything happen, and then the second act shows you, oh, this is really what was happening behind the scenes. That
right,
was right. But I
right,
would admit that could have come in a little later. Not in the third act,
right.
mind,
Well,
because third act is perfect, but
here's how
I
I
felt
felt
like
about
it
that.
could have come in a little later on, not
Yeah.
so early in the second act.
So here's how I felt about that. My attitude was that piece of information. I felt what is in my this again my money quarterbacking for it. What I felt is that the whole twin thing we should have learned the twin thing later, and they shouldn't have played the twin so differently from the original. So Andy,
Right, right.
well, not Andy. Andy's the dead one. Was he the twin's
Yeah,
name?
well, Helen, yeah. Helen
Helen.
has his
Right,
southern accent. I
right.
thought
So
that's
I
pretty
felt
funny
Helen.
too because
Right,
because with Benoit and his accent too, right?
right,
So yeah.
right, right. So I felt Helen should have been a lot closer to Andy in terms of conceit. So when they reveal, and sorry, well, we should think that Helen gets shot, right? When they reveal she getting shot, it makes it look like if Andy is shot, and then they go back to show that Andy, like we should think that Andy is the one who uh is still on the island with them, and Andy and Helen is actually they should play Helen closer to Andy, making us think she's still Andy, and then they do the reveal of commit suicide in the ending, and then you reveal that
Right, right. I
it's
understand.
Miles killed Andy. So that was at the end you find out Miles killed Andy. But that was the
Right,
problem.
right,
They,
right.
they just they blow it early and then drop it, the twin thing, and then you'll say, oh shit, Helen is the twin at the ending.
Right.
That's all felt they should have played that. I don't know.
Kind of going back to like what we saw with Knives Out, where
Right,
yeah, you
right.
know,
So
be
you play it a lot
with
closer to
Chris
the chest.
Evans, right? And it's like, oh,
Right.
okay, they're like kind of wonder what's his play in all of this, and then
Because one of the
near the
problems,
end, it's like, oh, that's why. Right, right,
right.
right.
Because one of the problems is that you see the thing is these mystery stories is that the problem with the mystery stories, especially in the case of movies, is that when you're watching a movie, your brain is be solving the information in real time. So if you're dropping that information, you have to drop the information in the ending. But if you're like reading a book, it's not that much of a problem when you're reading a book. But when you're watching a movie, you'll be solving it immediately. So you end up solving it faster now. And that was my problem with it. It's like, oh well, I just kind of work out everything. And like, so it had no real surprise at the ending. It had almost no surprise in the end. And it's like,
No, no,
just
no,
when,
no.
exactly.
But to the show's credit now, they will say, well, you know, it's the joy or the fun of
Right.
seeing the story play out, right?
All that's
And
fine, you know.
I do agree, but
All that's
yeah,
fine.
I mean,
But
you
I still
still
want
have
the
to
mystery.
play with the audience, right? It's a mystery.
Right.
Remember, you know, it's you know, Ryan is literally playing the audience, right? So
Right.
yeah, he could afford to you know, not show certain information. You know, he could
Right.
wait a little longer,
So
right?
what they
But
do, well,
I get
okay.
why he do it this way, you know?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, what they do with these thing is they show like what Miles's ability is. Like Miles is a well, okay, so again another spoiler. Miles is a dumb guy, but he's a type of dumb person that you have to watch out for, which is he's a kind of a sophist. Now. What he does
Right.
well is he'll give you basically the false reality, you know, Elon Musk bullshit, or I should say Steve Jobs was good at this, right? Of creating the what is the reality distortion bubble stuff now. That's what Miles's power was. That's why he's good. Because they keep doing about making statements and then making a false reality after the fact. Like when he hand Duke the glass, right? And it's like, wait, Duke didn't pick up the glass. He handed Duke the glass, and so on and so forth. That is where the trick was. Like that's what I think they was going for. But
Right.
because it's a film and you have to play with editing, it doesn't work as well. Like you see the problem, right? Like I get
I understand.
right. So I get why Ryan Johnson was doing it like this, you know. I understand that. Because the big catch was the trick that Miles pulls on people. Like how he rises to power now. How he just get to power. Look, it's a lot of powerful people that do this bullshit. Steve Jobs was very good at this, like for the most part. It's just it eventually because you don't know how to do stuff in the real world, that bullshit just catch up with you over time now. And it's at a build up. That's what they was going for. And it mostly works, except I still felt the mystery should have played closer to the chest to play with that after the fact. Because him murdering Duke and him doing all this extra stuff like makes better sense. But it still mostly works for the most part. That's it. Anyway, that's
It
my
does, it
last
does.
point.
Well, there's a few more things before we get
Sure.
to rate it, right? Yeah, Germany is fantastic at this though.
Yeah.
Playing both sisters as well, right?
Right.
Especially Helen, where you know she gets to adopt this sudden drawl and whatnot.
Right.
It
And well,
works,
yeah,
right?
she from where's she from? Not Atlanta.
Yes,
Yeah.
she is.
Right. Because she come up with Outcast, right? That's
Well,
like,
well, they say can't read it off her Wikipedia Kansas, but yeah, I know she have some sudden,
right.
stuff about her, right?
So I know
But anyway.
she's like from she kind of come from back in the days now, long time, but it's kind of come up under Outcast now because she's kind of like
Right.
I always think of her as carrying the torch for Outcast, like in my humble opinion. So they just being out there and
I agree with you.
in terms of ideas and music and things.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, she's great at this too. If she get that Oscar okay, that'll be cool.
Unlikely, but yeah, okay, it could happen.
Yeah, but she is the best thing about it though. But everybody else is fantastic at it. Whether it's Edward Norton, who just shines and just shows that he can do comedy
great,
as well, as Miles. Daniel Craig, like I said before, he has found his next franchise because I mean. Well, for those who don't know, Bond is dead, right? Thanks to No Time to Die, right? But here's like, hey, I could do Benoit Blanc for like, I don't know, 3-4 more films. And for me, I can't wait, right? Also, just lastly, direction, well done throughout though. And writing, of course, is solid, right? Throughout. If there's one thing you come to expect from a Ryan Johnson film, is great writing as well, right? And yeah, just overall, it was just a fun time though. And it's one of those things that I kind of regret that I didn't see on the big screen though, because I saw Knives Out in theaters, right? That was the first time I saw it, right? But I would have loved to watch this movie in theaters, but
Yeah, me too.
yeah,
Because
especially the way how it was shot too, because I was wondering, okay, it's Netflix, so okay, it could be kind of Netflix budget kind of thing. No disrespect to Netflix,
no,
right? But you know what I mean by
no,
Netflix budget. But nah, they spend cash on this too. I see ILM involved in the visual effects too. I
yeah,
was like, what? Like ILM? No, all right, bro, okay.
right.
And that's of course the cast and just everybody that they got on board. Yeah, everybody did their thing, man. You could tell that everybody was having fun throughout though. Especially Dave Bautista and Catherine Hahn, boy. Like, yeah, you could tell that they were just having an absolute blast with this way, you know what I mean? But yeah, at the end of the day for me, yes, everybody, well, even though we two films in with this Knives Out franchise, right? I'm just happy that we have a solid mystery franchise, right? But
Yes.
yeah, people will have their favorites, right? So if you would prefer Knives Out, I mean, that's fine, right? I don't have a favorite at the moment. I enjoy both films for what they are. The first one was more pure mystery, like it was just kind of taking us
Yeah.
back to more of an old school vibe, but just modernized. And here was just taking us to the mystery comedy, right? It was about Clue,
Right.
and yes, they referenced Clue like about 3 times. I thought it was
Right.
funny.
Right.
Like that's Ryan winking at the audience, like, yes, I know it's like Clue, guys. I
Is
know. I wrote this
I
shit.
forget
It's Clue, right?
I forget which book that, and it was one of these turn mystery books back in the days where you just had to turn to a page. Um, gosh, what's the name of that book back in the days? Boy, I forget off the top of my head. But yeah,
Not choose your own adventure, right? Because I don't know nothing, but it's not
well,
that, right?
kind of, but no, not really. It's more like turn to this page to answer this question. Blah 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 blah. Is that thing? Uh, Oh, what's the name
God,
of that book that he
shut up.
referenced by it? But yeah, it's another one of those old mystery style novels in the same vein as Clue kind of thing. But it's one of those. It's slipping my mind right now. Whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. As far as just like a murder mystery, well, I should call it a mystery comedy more than anything else. Yeah, this work, man. Like it was just actually more humorous to me than the first one. I mean, the first one was funny as hell, right? But this one
Yeah.
just had its own kind of like style of humor to it though. But it still felt like again another Benoit adventure, and I just want to see more films like this, man. I have a feeling with the next film is gonna try something a little bit different. I do hope that with the series going forward that Ryan does that, like he can experiment with certain mystery tropes a little bit more, so
Right.
each film does not have to feel the same way. But again, I could understand some people not liking this compared to the other one, but if you just look at it as just two different styles, there's two different, like, yeah, just styles of the mystery genre. Yeah, this will work for you, man. And for me, this
Yeah.
absolutely work for me. This is one of my favorite films of the year, bar none. One of the most enjoyable films I've seen this year. I could say that wholeheartedly. So rating wise, strong 4 out of 5, man. Again, I wish I could have seen this theatrically, but it's on Netflix, and Netflix is gonna make a killing with this movie, man, for sure. And again, let's just see this one last time. Daniel Craig has found his next franchise. I want to
Right.
see more. Benoit Blanc, give us more. Ryan, please give us more, right? Because yeah, 2 films in, man, and yeah, I have a feeling that we're gonna have a great movie franchise, man. So yeah, Ricardo, your last thoughts on it.
Yeah, rating 8 out of 10. I just felt the mystery was not as strong as the first one, but that's the only thing that kind of held it back. No, but not a big problem by any stretch of the imagination. I just thought this was really really fun and well done. I had a lot of fun with it. It's just genuinely funny and snappier, funnier dialogue. It works well. I had a lot of fun with it. I really forget what my rating for the original was, but I think it's higher than this, slightly higher by a 0.5, nothing major. Again, I just felt they could have put the mystery and placed it a little better. That's about it. But I didn't hate the film or anything like that. Yeah, 8 out of 10. I dug it for it.